I'm here with Louise Parsons, who is a Cyclone Gabrielle community advocate. Kia ora, Louise, and thanks for joining me.
Kia ora, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Louise, it's the government has just released their inquiry into the severe weather events in the North Island that happened last year. That includes Cyclone Gabrielle. The inquiry was led by Sir Jerry Mataparai, and it has some fairly significant findings, and that basically that we need to do response to natural disasters better. What do you say? Have you read the report? What do you think?
I've read the report. I haven't read all of it because it's 167 pages long.
Yeah.
So I've read I've read the significant stuff that I think is important. And probably when I read page 4, there's point 3. It says that there is going to be no blame attributed to any individual or entity. And I thought, do I really want to keep reading? Because it's just showing that there is absolutely no accountability for any of the findings. And if you have a look at the findings, civil defence has just been a disaster itself. And it has been taken away from the community. We used to have a really good community structured plan for disasters. And I think around 6 years ago, the person that was in charge and is still in charge disbanded that and centralised it. And with that, this is what we're left with. And, you know, the accountability, that person who happened to be on a tramp just before the disaster that we all knew was coming, including him, he still has a job. And I don't understand why there's no accountability for that individual, Ian McDonald. And now that this review has come out, and it's very damning against how they operated, he's on holiday. He's on leave for a week. So it just makes no sense to me when people lost their lives. You know, I woke up to the news this morning that some guy that was I think he was the CEO or director of the Port of Auckland, he's been dragged through the courts right now as we speak because someone died in a workplace accident. Now, why is that treated like that? And yet these councils haven't even had the balls to say, I'm sorry. You know, I spent the morning with Jack and Ella, who lost little Ivy in the floods, and no report's ever going to bring them back. But had they been evacuated, Ivy would still be alive today. And they are angry. They are so angry about this review.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my feelings towards it. Waste of time, waste of money. There's nothing in there that none of us didn't know already. And no one's coming out and saying, we're sorry, we got this wrong.
Well, we will put what you're saying to the various people, including Ian McDonald, and get his response. But now
He's on holiday. You won't get hold of him. He's on holiday.
Now, the inquiry did say that there was a lack of public warning systems and public notifications, including evacuation alerts, that had a significant impact on Hawke's Bay communities. And obviously, Dan Gale has been quite strong in that as well. That he monitored the responses and the warning systems and that. Do you think anything will be done about it?
Well, nothing's been done so far, and we're how many, 14 months on? Nothing's been done, so no, I don't. All that the councils have done so far is put all our rates up.
25% for Hastings, yes.
25 for Hastings, 140 for some parts of Bayview, 140%.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. It's like, let's just kick a community while they're down. You know, we won't take any responsibility for what we've done, but we'll kick them while they're down. And it's I don't know what kind of New Zealand we're living in at the moment.
Yeah.
There was no warning system. In fact, they were told, members of the community were told, don't worry, it's going to be okay. We were told not to evacuate. I got the warning at 5:30. It was all over by then.
Yeah. The report also said that the National Emergency Management Agency was overwhelmed and unable to respond as needed. Did you see that on the ground?
No, we were pretty cut off because I'm in Estdale.
Yeah.
I mean, Bayview were quite organised because we had some amazing community members step up, like the Bayview Pub and Malin Swain, Valley Divine. They all stepped up, and I mean, obviously, you've heard so many stories about the community who actually responded and saved people. So that we were quite cut off at the start. But if you have a look at the report, every aspect of the disaster, it was overwhelming, and no one's going to dispute that. But we put our lives in the hands of these leaders, and we trust them, and we think, and they get paid good money, and we think they're going to look after us. But no one was prepared for this.
Yeah.
No one. Not one agency was really prepared. And I'm not going to bag agencies, because I think the only one that I'm really, really angry about is Civil Defence itself.
Yeah.
And the person that's leading that.
Yeah.
He's still got a job, and I do not understand that.
Yeah. Now, another finding was that police did not anticipate that people would take advantage of the situation caused by the cyclone. And this is something that you have raised repeatedly in the interviews we've had. The report says that this resulted in multiple reports of lawlessness and antisocial behavior. You saw that on the ground, and
Yeah,
you saw that.
Yeah, and I mean, all they have to do is look at Christchurch. The looting was rife when that happened. So what's going to be different here? And if they don't know criminal activity, what are they doing in the police? And I do not blame the frontline staff, because they were overwhelmed with everything. And so I don't blame them. But in regards to resources, not using the Defence Force, crazy stuff.
Well, that's another thing that they do raise in there, that the Defence Force was a reassuring presence for the community, but the Defence Force itself was frustrated because they didn't know what their roles were.
Well, you know, they were bringing water that we weren't allowed to drink because they weren't registered as being allowed to allocate drinking water. You know, this is the stuff that we had to put up with, and I can only imagine how awful that must have been for the Defence Force, how frustrating. Some of them couldn't come and help with silt because of the contamination. I mean, we were up to our knees in the stuff because we had to get it out of the houses. We didn't worry about that. So there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of things that have been said that you just think, really, it's a natural disaster, and all the red tape should be completely cut. And I know that ACT and National both talked about that pre-election, I might add, that, you know, when it's a natural disaster, business as usual should not be business as usual. You know, a lot of the agencies that were out to rescue had to do health and safety risk analysis and all of that, whereas 3 married boys in a boat just went and did it. You know, and that's how it should be. You just go and do it. You do what is needed.
So now, what is your and the community's role now, since these reports have been released? What do you do now? Do you just keep pushing until something's done, or do you just accept that things won't be changed, or will they be changed?
Well, we'll see. But in regard to, you know, the responsibility, I think there ought to be some compensation for the people that lost their lives and who remained. It would happen in a workplace. There'd be fines, you know, there'd be reparation for people. And I think maybe it's time to take legal action. Right now, you know, if everything goes well and all the recommendations are taken up, great, happy days. But so far, I mean, do we have to wait 14 months for a review to come out for them not to get flood warning system sorted?
Yeah.
It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm probably working in the background at the moment with the category system, because the category system is another disaster.
Yeah.
You know, you've got people there in category 3 that can't get insurance, but they're allowed to live there. There's a lot of crazy inconsistencies. So we're trying to get Mark Mitchell to help us now.
Yeah. Okay, so Louise Parsons, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully, hopefully we do see some changes.
Yeah, well, I saw a very brave family this morning giving TV interviews, and that's Ella and Jack, who are true heroes because they lost their daughter and nothing will bring her back, but they decided that they would go public because they don't want this happening to anybody else. And as they said, if there's no accountability, it's going to keep happening. And they've paid the biggest price more than anybody.
Louise
So
Parsons,
thank you.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.